How to avoid paternity fraud. This question, seriously, has been asked of me at least 1,000 times over the last 10 years. It's an interesting question, and it's a question a lot of men do ask. Is there a way to avoid paternity fraud? And my answer to this question, when asked, is twofold. The first thing that I do mention to these young men is, number one, you want to start the process of avoiding or beginning to avoid paternity fraud by having conversations when you first meet the woman that you're interested in. And these conversations that you have with her should involve how she views children, how she views relationships, should also incorporate her relationship with her father, her relationship with her mother. All of these things give you kind of a sneak peek into how this young lady thinks, how her relationships are. And to me, that's the starting point, because once you kind of get an understanding of how that female thinks and what she's actually about, based on not what she says, about what she does and how she maneuvers and handles herself in her own life. And this way you can get a better gauge on whether or not you want to deal with her before the sexual relationship becomes part of the dynamic. And that is the starting point to potentially avoiding paternity fraud. Now, if you go ahead and get into the sexual part of the relationship and a child is conceived, you shouldn't trust anyone's word at that particular point in time. You should perform the only option that I'm aware of at this particular point in time to help in avoiding paternity fraud is DNA testing. And a DNA test, what this does is allow you to know whether or not you're biologically related to a child. Excuse me. So, timing would also play a huge part in terms of at least your emotional, mental, and financial stress that you will receive in the event this woman was intentionally trying to deceive you, making you raise another man's child. So it's important that any man, whether young, middle-aged, or older, when we're engaging in relationships with the opposite sex, is to have dialogue beforehand so you can gauge at least a little bit of her mentality, and not to waste your time going forward before it gets to the sexual part. But if it does get to the sexual part, you also want to make sure that you incorporate DNA testing as soon as the child is born. I do not recommend waiting until months or years. As soon as that child is born, get the DNA test done, then you can get it out of the way. And this way, if the woman does feel a way about you wanting to perform a DNA test because she believes you don't trust her, you can work on mending that early in the process. And that's not to say she will forget it, but she will definitely have to respect it. And it keeps everybody honest. And one of the things that people have to truly understand is relationships are really business. You know what I mean? If you look at it like a business, then these things, and concepts and ideas of terms of communicating and saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do, or I'll feel comfortable about, and you negotiate that into your relationship, I think can kind of ease things over and whatnot. Also too, it might be a good idea to have the conversation about DNA testing before the sexual intercourse becomes part of your relationship. And if you do that right there, talking about, I'm a proponent of performing DNA testing before I do anything or sign any documentation, and then listen to the female's response. And if she gives you a response that is, against the way you view things, then at least you know now how the relationship may turn out, and what you can expect, and you might just want to just move in a different direction. But again, that will be up to you in terms of how you decide to handle the relationship. But the only way that I am currently aware of is in terms of avoiding paternity fraud is performing a DNA test as soon as the child is born. And another important tidbit that you should keep in mind as well too is once the child is born at hospitals, fathers are normally presented with documentation which is known as an acknowledgement of paternity, and signing that documentation could cause some problems for you if you sign it and then you find out later that you are not actually the biological father of the child. So I would not recommend signing any documentation until you have that DNA test, and then you can move forward in terms of knowing whether or not you are the biological father of the child, and move forward in the relationship you will have with the mother of the child if the child is in fact truly yours. So I will leave it there. Until next time, take care. In closing, I would like to thank you for watching this video. I hope you found the information useful. Also, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel to get the latest information on all things paternity, paternity testing, and relationship-related issues. If you would like to expedite your learning about the paternity testing process, please click the link in the description below to check out my new book on Amazon called Are You or Are You Not the Father? The complete how-to question and answer guide to the paternity testing process. Once again, thank you for watching and take care.